Alpine finished the previous season on a high note, beating McLaren despite the reliability issues that hampered their results. However, this is far from what the team is aiming for, and it seems like we're going to see a more competitive Alpine from 2023 onwards. Recently, Otmar Szafnauer spoke about the team's plans and goals for the upcoming season and how they managed to be more consistent on the podium, and who knows, maybe even win a race or two like they did in 2021. Alpine's 2022 season was a roller coaster, with them having great results but then having to battle with some difficult situations, such as the fiasco with Piastri and the relationship between Ocon and Alonso. With Piastri denying Alonso's secured seat in Alpine after he signed a contract with Aston Martin, everyone expected major changes in Alpine's management. However, that was not the case, as the team was able to pick up the pieces and continue exactly where they left off, which was to be better than McLaren and the rest of the midfield. However, reliability issues, which were present in the first half of the season, nearly caused Alpine to drop to 4th place in the Constructors' Championship, trailing McLaren in what would have been the most devastating outcome after such an anticipated season. Keep in mind that Alpine wasn't present on the podium one single time, and yet they managed to win the 4th spot in the Constructors' Championship. True, Norris was the only driver apart from the Big Three that was able to climb the podium in 2022 in Imola, but it still goes to show that reliability and consistency are key factors if you want solid results, something that Alpine definitely has to work on for the upcoming season. But before we get there, let's see what Otmar Szafnauer has to say regarding the previous season and the challenges that he had to face once he was appointed as the team's principal to Alpine, with him willingly leaving Aston Martin after knowing that he wouldn't have the duties that he would want to have as a team principal. Otmar has some pretty big plans for the upcoming season, but in order for us to understand those, we need to reflect on the previous season and where the team is currently located, with him set as the leader. When talking about this matter, Otmar added, "We have to take a step closer to being able to win a championship, which is what we wanted to do in 100 races. And I think we're less than 80 now. That 100 started at the beginning of 2022, so it's less than 80 from now. We need to do the same, but be closer to 3rd. So, we need to be closer to 3rd than we are to 5th. So, even if we stay 4th, we've got to make progress." Declaring that you want to compete with the top 3 teams on the grid is a very positive mindset to enter the season with, and it's something that every team should have as they enter a new season. However, that is much easier said than done, because as we've been able to see from previous seasons, Red Bull, Ferrari, and Mercedes don't seem to be stopping anytime near soon. But if there's one thing we've learned from the previous season, it's that reliability is a huge factor in race outcomes, and thus directly to Constructors' Championship placement. Alpine is a team that has had its fair share of struggles regarding this matter, and things became very serious during the Singapore GP, where both of the Alpine cars retired and Norris and Ricciardo finished P4 and P5, respectively. That way, McLaren was able to close a huge gap and overcome Alpine in the Constructors' Championship fight. So it goes without saying that the Enstone-based squad was happy that the reliability issue didn't continue in the upcoming period and jeopardized the outcome of the 2022 season. Szafnauer knows that the team needs to work desperately on reliability for the upcoming season, but one thing that he is better on is the speed of the engine. Now that there is a powertrain freeze, the upgrades in performance have to come from different aspects of the car, such as the chassis and the engineering around it. However, the team has experienced some massive changes in the previous period, such as Alain Prost being fired from his position as the special advisor. Although his relationship with Alpine CEO, Rossi, ended on a sour note, the team continued to look forward, with Rossi even taking cheap shots at McLaren, saying that they are no longer on Alpine's radar, and the Enstone-based squad is looking forward to battling teams like Mercedes and Ferrari from 2023 on. We've seen that they can do it in Canada, as Alonso qualified P2 and had a good resistance against Hamilton until he experienced a water pump issue. But yet again, the reliability of the car has ruined the Spaniard's race. Szafnauer reflected on his time in Alpine and on the challenges that are currently lying ahead of him, such as the good results for the 2023 season. And when talking about this matter, he said, I came in and I said, look, it's going to take me 3, 4, 5, 6 months to understand the organization, the people, the personalities. What I have seen that is better elsewhere, what I have seen that isn't as good elsewhere. What should we keep? What should we improve on? At the same time, Laurent and the senior leadership team there were already working on a plan that they called Mountain Climber, which is how do we go from here in 100 races to vying for the championship. What is it that we need? What tools do we need? What skill sets do we need to complement the skill sets that we already have? So, the plan was being put in place. I came in, I reviewed that plan vis-a-vis getting to know all the characters, and now we're in the middle of implementing that plan. Let's not forget that Alpine has to work on the relationship between Ocon and Gasly because, although both of them are young and prospective drivers, they have had personal issues in the past, and now they need to overcome them like adults. The team went to the extent of threatening to fire one of them if they did silly stuff, and at this point it's vital for them to understand the magnitude of the project that they are currently a part of. With both of the drivers agreeing that everything between them is in the past, the team is now looking forward to the new season, but the plans for it are pretty optimistic, according to Szafnauer. The team principal said that there is a new philosophy that he adopted for the team, and now it should continue to pay off for the upcoming season, as he further elaborated. One of the big things I did when I first got there was to look at how long it takes us to bring upgrades to the track. And it took us a long time, longer than I was used to at other places, and we had just a bit of a subgroup to look at how we can do things differently, simultaneously, release things a little bit early from the tunnel, start the engineering work early at the expense of sometimes having to redo it, because things change, but most of the time, not. And just saving time. And one of the big things was to be able to bring floors in almost half the time. Probably the biggest contributor to downforce is the floor. And if you can bring those floors quicker, and I think we had 4 different versions of the floor, and you have to bring 5 of each one of those. However, Szafnauer is more than aware that when compared to the top competitors, Alpine still lacks the tools regarding the simulation work, but what is more important for them is that they need to understand that success doesn't come overnight, as Szafnauer added that step by step they will definitely raise the competitiveness level. The Alpine team principal continues to climb the mountain along with his co-workers, and although it seems like an easy path, it's far from it. The Enstone-based squad is facing a lot of issues nowadays, and they have a lot to prove to the Formula One world, especially to the guy that left them for McLaren. If they want to prove to the world that Piastri made the wrong decision by joining the working-based squad, they need to have a top-notch performance weekend after weekend. That is possible for the drivers, as they have a great duo of young talents, but whether the car will be able to do that or not, time will tell. What do you think about Alpine's plans for the 2023 season? Do you think that the reliability issues are going to be fixed by the Enstone-based squad? Let us know in the comments below.